I'm going to play this cool music that's always exciting. And then we'll listen to that.
You're listening to The Devin Dyer Show.
I thought it was real hot. Okay, so this is the part where you're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to tell us where you went wrong in your life that you're doing excavating and you have questions about excavating. I think that's how you say it.
Sounds good. My name is Jace Marriott. I'm from Warren, Utah. Started in excavation about 4 years ago. This will be my fourth spring. I call it Jace Marriott Excavation. Yeah, that's about it. I've been married for about 3.5 years. My wife supports me. She's the best.
She supports you financially or mentally?
Well, that too, yeah.
Is she a nurse?
No, she works for Utah State.
City. And that's where your money's coming from? And then bring that mic a tiny bit towards you. Okay, so did you not get good grades in school?
No, not at all.
D's and F's?
Mostly D's. I had a couple F's.
So that's why you're doing dirt work. That explains that.
Yep. Yeah, I always had an A in welding.
I actually did really good in welding too.
Yeah.
I was extremely good in welding. So tell me, when you were 15 and 16, what were you doing?
So I was my dad's family and my mom's family farming and ranching. My mom grew up on a dairy. So I worked for them, worked for my dad's brother. He runs a pretty big operation. And then when I turned 16, I worked for them before I was 16, really. When I turned 16, around then, I actually bought a little tractor.
Yeah.
And was like grading yards and stuff. And
really?
Yeah.
That sounds like somebody I know in Midway.
Yeah. I don't know Bridger. I just heard his story.
Yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
So what kind of tractor were you driving?
The first one was Mahindra. It wasn't very good. I sold it, bought a New Holland little box scraper.
And then you're on your way?
Yeah, and I was charging $50 an hour, and I thought I was going to be a millionaire.
So at what point did you decide after doing that? Why did you decide that you weren't going to keep working for the family business, farming? If your mom grew up on a dairy, you probably don't like getting up at 4 a.m. and milking cows. That's a 7-day-a-week job.
Yeah, I guess I like the equipment side of things. I like the animals and plants too, but I just thought, I guess it was really on my mission that I decided I was going to, like the last month of my mission, I decided I'm going to come home, I'm going to buy a Mini X.
Really?
Yep. I don't know why. I was just laying there in bed one night, and I was like, what can I do to provide for my family, to give them a decent life, still spend time with them? And so.
Did you know your wife before you left?
Yeah, yep.
And then you got married?
Yeah.
And she waited for you?
Yep.
And did she wait?
Yeah, she did.
She didn't date anybody while you were gone?
No, not to my knowledge.
Because my wife told me she was waiting, but she was waiting with the boy while I was away.
Not to my knowledge. So she spent a lot of time with my family while I was gone. So.
See, I think Tug's lucky he's got my genes in him, because that was a close call. So how long did you know your wife?
I met her, I was 12 when I met her.
For real?
She was my crush when I was 12 years old, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I told all my friends, I'm like, I'm going to marry her, and everybody's like, you're full of crap,
Really? So did she grow up in your same school and grade?
Yeah, yep. Well, not elementary, like junior high and up.
Did she know at 12 that you liked her?
Oh, yeah. She's actually a year older than me.
Yeah, so, you liked older women, huh?
Oh, yeah. I was like 15. I'm like, I got a, kind of a girlfriend that'll drive me around. I don't know how well she likes me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool. So when I was I went and did a podcast with Jimmy Starbucks, and he told me the coolest story ever. His mom is from Missouri.
Oh, really?
And his dad's from Australia. And I think he'll be okay if I tell this story. We never talked about it on the podcast, though, did we? It's the coolest story in the world. So his dad and mom had school teachers somehow that like exchanged pen pals or something. Really? Yes. And Jimmy's dad in the 4th grade or 5th grade, probably not completely accurate, and the mom got hooked up as pen pals, and they wrote each other from like the 4th or 5th grade all the way. And then when they got old enough, they got together and got married.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. And I think they ended up in Australia.
Wow.
So, where did you serve your mission?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
And how was that for you?
It was awesome.
It was good?
Yeah.
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 I have a son right now that's in the Philippines,
Awesome.
and he's my youngest of 7.
Wow.
And his mother provided him with the personal credit card since he was like 14 and his own vehicle, and the kid's never had to do anything hard in his life.
Uh-huh.
And the awesome thing about him being in the Philippines is now he's in a place where he doesn't have a shower, and he has to take showers with a bucket, and he has to wipe his bum with water from the bucket. And he had the privilege the other day that they have district meetings on Mondays. His district meeting is a 2.5-hour bus ride away.
Oh, wow.
So he rode the bus all the way to the district meeting, standing up because there wasn't enough room to sit down, and was nauseous and sick, and had the opportunity to vomit in his companion's potato chip bag the whole trip. And so I am so happy that he's just out there getting his trash kicked. So
Yeah.
Indianapolis was probably a little easier.
Yeah.
So you come home. How long are you home before you decide to get married?
I got home January 26th, and I was shopping for a wedding ring on Valentine's Day, and then we got, I don't know the timeline of when we got engaged. We got married in June, so I was home about 6 months.
So is that quick enough, Tug? Tug just got married, and his fiancee, wife now, got home when?
December?
Got home in December. Tug wanted to get married like the end of December or January, and she wanted to have the wedding like the next December.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then
We met in the middle and got married in July.
And then every day she was wondering why they were waiting. So when I was on my mission, I met my wife 2 months before I left, and we got married 2 months after I got home, I think. I'm pretty sure. And I actually bought her ring while I was on my mission.
Wow.
That was while she was waiting for me dating the other boy. But I just moved forward with confidence and faith. That's kind of what I do in everything. Like in business, I'll buy machinery before I need it, just knowing I'll have it, and then I'll go find some work for it. So I pretty much got the ring and then just knew I'd work it out. So at what point after you get married do you decide you're going to go into the excavating business?
Before, like, I was home. I bought the excavator like in March, right after I got home.
Really? And how did you buy it?
I borrowed money from my parents. I paid them back with interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought it.
And what kind of excavator did you buy?
It was a Komatsu 55.
And does it have a cab?
Yep, cab, thumb, quick coupler.
Does it have air conditioning?
It's there, but it doesn't really work that good.
So you're still using the same one?
Yeah, yep, we still got it.
And how long have you had it for then?
I guess this will be 4 years.
And so is your what is your long-term plan? Do you have a skid steer too, or okay?
Last winter I bought a new Kubota skid steer.
Okay, and what size did you get?
The 97, the big one.
Okay, so that's probably good because that's a little bit like a mini loader.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing to get work?
So I guess I got to back up. My first job, like big job, like I had little stuff with the Mini X, but there's a guy his name's Jolly, and he's been a big mentor / I guess he's a general contractor, and he subs a lot too.
Right.
So he has a backhoe, a 315, just bought a 308. So I rent his equipment quite a bit. So we partnered up and did an excavation and septic on like a water company building. It's like an office / shop. So that was like the first job I did. Started on it right after I got married in June, but like legit job, I guess.
And how long ago was that?
Like 4 years.
So you've been
now.
home for 4 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so and when you say that was a bigger job, like what's your definition of a big job?
I guess it was the first 6-figure job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it was a pretty sizable job. And so how did you know to give pricing on it?
He helped me.
He helped you?
Yeah. So he worked for my dad's uncle who had a decent sized excavation company. Then he quit, went to a water company, and then he was in the bishopric with my dad while he was my young men's leader and stuff.
Yeah.
And is how I know him. And then he really helped me on pricing. This is what we're going to price a job at. This is what equipment's worth per hour. So he was starting to gain more and more side work. that he would do on the after work at the water company and then on weekends. And then I started just helping him with his side work as well. So right now about half the work I do is with him and half is without.
So that's actually pretty awesome because a lot of people don't have that opportunity to have somebody work alongside them. I never had that. I still have no idea how to do pricing or estimating. I just throw a number at the wall and hope it works out. And I don't know how many people are doing that. So how are you bidding your jobs then? Like if you had a set of plans, are you just doing takeoffs or what exactly are you doing?
Essentially we'll sit down, go through a takeoff. We think, okay, it's going to take this long to dig it, this long to backfill. This is the material we need. This is the pipe we need.
And what are you doing for dump trucks?
Rent like leasers.
Yeah.
We have a couple. Well, mostly one person's got probably 6 dump trucks we use.
And that works out for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they've been really good to us. We try to find stuff in the winter when they're slower. Of hey, we're slow. They're slow. Can do this or that? But also like if I need a dump truck tomorrow, I can probably have one.
Yeah. So Tug has a partner that's a computer tech guy, and they're developing a revolutionized app on leasing dump trucks where dump truck drivers and people can use it to find work and then get paid.
Kind of like an Uber for dump trucks.
Something like that. Yeah, because every time that I lease dump trucks, I'm frustrated. And I'm frustrated that when I lease dump trucks that I don't get good guys that show up, and then I'm frustrated that they don't send me their paperwork for like a week or something gets lost, so I'm trying to make it better so that it's easier for me to stomach.
That'll be something we'll have to look into. That's sweet. That's
yeah,
awesome.
So what are your plans right now? Like, do you have any employees or is it just you?
Yeah, I have one full-time employee, and then my brother helped me before he left on his mission. I have a cousin that helps me part-time. But yeah, one full-time employee. He's actually one of my mission companions.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
And he didn't do well in school either.
Well, he graduated from college, but he likes what we're doing, and so
what's his degree in?
like a business management degree.
Yeah, so that's good. So what are your plans with your business? What do you want to do with it?
I guess I want to get to a point where I don't have to be there all the time, but I also don't want to. I still want to enjoy life and not be super stressed.
Are you super stressed right now?
Yeah.
What are you stressed about?
Just like what do I do? How do I not? Because right now I'm in the hoe every day.
Yeah.
And making it happen, but I also don't want to have to be there forever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I mean got a couple stressful jobs. The actual work doesn't stress me out that much. It's making sure we have work for next week, next month.
Yeah. So you, I think, had some specific questions for me.
Yeah.
And the fact is you don't know me very well, or you wouldn't be asking me questions because you would know that you're going to get bad information. But tell me some of the stuff that you're curious about, and then I'll give you Bernstein Bear answers.
So grade control 2D versus 3D. And then, I guess rather than hiring another employee, do we go to grade control? You know what I mean?
So what are you doing with your employee right now? What's he doing day to day?
Grade rod, skid steer, pipe layer.
So here's where I didn't go right for a long time, but I finally figured it out. You right now, why don't you have grade control?
Money.
So right now you're scared of paying money, right?
Yeah.
So your guy, if you figure out how much money you're paying your guy to shoot grade per year, if you ran the numbers on that, you're already paying for grade control. The difference right now is you're just angry at the guy that's shooting grade all the time because he's not shooting it quick enough, or he's too high or too low. For me, if you're going to be in the excavating business for the next 5 years, I'm calling somebody tomorrow and getting grade control set up. What are you? Some of the issue too might be that your guy that you're renting equipment from, like, are you renting his track hoe and digging holes with it? Where would the grade control go?
Yeah, I would want it on really like the 308, the 315, because like the mini. Like my mini, we just use it for like odds. Like I really don't need grade control on it. Wouldn't make sense.
So how old is the 308 and the 315?
The 308's like 2 years old. The 315's, it's like an '06. It's pretty old.
So the 308 didn't come with. It's not the new Cat with grade control.
Well, it's a hex machine, but it still has the older screen in it.
Yeah. So again, this is bad advice, okay? If you're going to be in the excavating business and you're actually going to be in the excavating business, and I don't know what your year's looking like this year, because this year is probably going to be a really kind of interesting year with all the garbage that's going on in the Middle East and fuel prices and all that. But if you have enough work to get through the year, which I don't know what your workload is, what is it right now?
A couple months out.
And is it good jobs, or is it jobs that you're just scraping by?
No, it's pretty good.
So for me, like if I had 6 months of work right now, and I had like some good clientele, this would be different. Like let's say right now you're just starting out and you're kind of getting your feet wet. I wouldn't give you the same advice. But if you've been going for 4 years and you've kind of got the same clientele, and you know, okay, these guys are going to have a job, these guys are going to have a job, I would 100% get grade control. Even if you're a guy that you're borrowing his machine, but the fact that it's a 3000 or it's a 2006, it doesn't sound like to me he's too excited about buying new machines, right?
No.
So the reality is, if you bought a new track hoe, let's say you bought like a 320, even we have a 315. But a new track hoe is going to cost you probably $250,000, $400,000, $300,000. Your payment's probably going to be anywhere from $4,500 to $6,000. That's about what it is. But those come with grade control. So your next machine that you buy, when you buy it, if you get in that situation, always make sure that you're, like, if the machine you need's right here and this machine's a little bit of a reach. And just so you know, this is really, really bad advice, but this is what I would do. I'm going to buy the machine up here that's going to stretch me and make me reach and be more. If you're not a good businessman, which I'm not, if you don't take good care of your clients, which we take amazing care of our clients, and if you're having to find different people to work for all the time because you suck at your job, you don't want to take that stretch. But if you're really awesome at taking care of your clients and your clients love you and they want to keep using you, then stretch and get a little bit more. And my thought process too is, if you need a 315 and that's the perfect size of machine, but a 320 is a little bit of a push for you, I would get the 320.
That makes sense. So I guess that kind of rolls me into my next question is, everybody and their dog has a 320 or a 200 size. I'm already going to hire somebody to transport it. Why not jump to like a 250? What's the balance there versus how much the machine costs, in your opinion? You know what I mean?
Here's what happens. And I think I had this talk with somebody not too long ago. But here's the problem with us dirt diggers. All of us buy the exact same size of track hoe. So we all buy a 320, right? Everybody buys a dump truck and everybody buys a transport trailer. So everybody's set up the exact way. So you've got 20 other guys out there that have the exact same payment you do, the exact same setup. There's no advantage to me hiring you or the other 19 guys. So can you dig a hole faster than the guy with the other 320? No, because it's the same bucket. He only has one machine. You only have one machine. So you're picking all the low-hanging fruit on the tree, and you're going around and around the tree, and there's hardly any fruit there. So what fruit there is, you have to throw a really low price at to try to get, which doesn't help you build your business. So for me, right now we're running 300s. We're running Cat 330s. And I was talking to some guys the other day at Con Expo who are bad influences. They're like, well, why don't you just start running 400s? But my friend Lance, who's not very smart and takes bad advice, he's running a 400 Cat 340, and his payment's like $15,000 a month, which is stupid. So you don't do that if you don't have a lot of work, because you're going to go bankrupt in about 2 months. But if you have a lot of really good clients, and he's got clients that are doing big houses. So as your clientele grows and it gets better and better, make sure that you're getting equipment that's rising with them and getting better and better. So for me, I'm to the point I would never buy another, I would never buy another 320 Traco again. Right now we have 55s, we have the 308, we have a 315. I've got all these smaller things, but those are all in pretty good shape, and I don't need anything. We're probably going to need like another 308 Cat here in a while, because the one we have is pretty rough. But anything that I buy that's a bigger machine, I'm buying things that move more dirt and has a bigger bucket. And I'm buying all the technology I can, so that when you come and you bid against a job with me and you've got your little 315 or your 320, this doesn't work if I got a guy that's shopping on price and wants to take advantage of you because you have less experience. But if I'm dealing with the guy that's legit and he's building something big, he's going to go with me because I'm going to get that job done 6 times faster than you are. And even though your price is less money, he knows that you're going to stretch that job out for 8 weeks where we're going to get it done in 2. So if you are really in and you're going to be in the excavation business, buy bigger, buy more. Now remember, this is all extremely bad advice, and it's the Bernstein's Bear advice, where based on certain things, that's good advice. But if you don't have a lot of work in front of you, or if you're not running your business and you're a chaotic company, that's not a good plan, because you're going to go bankrupt in a hurry. But if things are good for you, I would get the best that I could. Like when it comes time to buy a dump truck, and you're like, okay, I need to get a dump truck. And again, this is based on you having cash flow and work coming in. Don't do what I did and go find a Kenworth dump truck that's 8-bag air ride and tips to the side, because you can get it for $30,000 and it's a 7-speed and it's got 900,000 miles on it. Because when you buy that truck, what you're telling yourself and what you're telling the universe and everybody around you is that you're not really committed to being in the excavating business. I always find it interesting. You see these guys that are buying these little $4,000 Tracos on Temu or the China thing.
Yeah.
Every time those guys buy that machine, it's a signal to me that that guy's not really committed to his business. Because if that guy was committed to his business, he would drive down to the Cat dealership and he would talk to Jim Brown and he'd say, I need this size of a Traco. Give me the very best machine you've got, and I don't care about the price. I want your sales. I want your service. When this thing breaks, I want somebody to take care of you. I think doing that brings more good energy into your business and helps your business grow and expand. I think when you're a sissy and you're buying crappy equipment that's a Chinese brand and the hydraulics are jerky and everything, and it's only costing $4,000, I can tell you where you're going to be in 4 or 5 years. And it's because you're scared and you're like, oh, I'm just going to buy that because I can't afford it. Well, buy something that will stretch you. Buy something that you can trade it in and it'll help you to be better. Like nobody's buying one of those Temu Chinese crap Tracos and building a business and being better by it. So
That makes sense.
yeah, I would, and I don't know like how much cash flow or anything you've got, but if you're gonna go in, then go all in. Like jump in with both feet. Don't just put your foot in there. And when I say if you're gonna go all in, I'm not talking just about equipment. I'm talking about the way you run your business, the way you run your books. Make sure that you're paying your taxes at the end of the year. Make sure you understand your numbers and that you're always trying to improve, and that you're not taking your money and thinking, oh, I made $5,000 this month, or I made $10,000. Oh, I'm going to go on a trip to Hawaii and I'm going to take my whole family. Or, oh, I just made a whole bunch of money. I've really been wanting a new 4-wheeler. I'm going to buy that 4-wheeler. Be committed and go all in and take that money and like buy a 3D system. You know, you can get a 3D system from Wheeler right now that can go on your equipment. That's like, it'll maybe be $27,000 to $50,000, and they'll finance it where with Site Tech, where they'll put the system on and they own the system and you can rent it from them, but it'll make you better. But also you need to have jobs that it makes sense on.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy it, if you're just grading out a corral or if you're just digging a ditch or something. But if it makes you better and there's a client that you're working with that has a job that's really complicated and got a lot of different elevations, then buy it. And then the other thing too, when you're talking to contractors, you want to ask them, my question all the time is, what do you hate about your excavator or the people? And then find out what that is and then be better at that. Like, I don't care what any of my competition's doing good, because there's a lot of people doing stuff good and doing awesome. What I want to find out is what my competition, whatever that means, because my competition is me, but I want to find out if you're the builder and you're building awesome homes, I want to find out what upsets you about your excavator. And then I'm going to listen really close. And if what upsets him is that he's always stuck on another job because he can't get to me, then I'm going to be like, I need to have 2 machines. I need to have enough guys that the day that backfill's ready, I'm there. The day he gets a permit, I'm there. And one of the things is we have lots and lots of track hoes, and a lot of times we'll have 1 or 2 or 3 track hoes sitting. But I'm okay with that, because as soon as a contractor calls me that we work for, the next day we've got machines there. So that's areas too that you got to pay attention to improve on.
That makes sense. Awesome. And then I guess to continue that, what's your balance like? You buy everything new, or do you look for like decent used equipment in the 500 to 1,000 hour range?
I'm actually okay with the 500 to 1,000 hour range. Again, this is bad advice. I don't want to buy anything unless I'm buying it through a reputable dealer that when I have problems with that machine, they're going to take care of it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to buy something for 1,000 hours that somebody else had problems with. The one thing, again, about buying new, and this is bad advice, tax advice, all that. If you're buying new, you get depreciation off the stuff, and so that helps on your taxes. But that being said, you shouldn't buy something that you don't need just to not pay taxes. But if you would have said, what's your opinion on buying used, but you didn't say from 500 to 1,000 hours, and your definition of used was 5,000 hours, 2,500 hours, 4,000 hours. The problem is, and the mistake that I made a whole bunch, like over and over when I was young, I was always afraid to buy new, and I was an idiot. Because what I did was I bought a lot of used crap, and when I got done, I had junk. Like, it was junk when I bought it because I was scared to buy the good stuff, and then it was still junk the whole time. And so for me, I would rather, depending on your workload and being wise not to bankrupt yourself, but I want to buy something new that's going to excel me and push me to win.
That makes sense.
What are you needing right now?
Possibly, like we talked, like I said, a 200, but then I got to thinking, how you're up late at night just going through stuff in your head, and I'm like, well, if I'm already paying somebody to transport it, why not go a little bit bigger?
Well, your transport's not going to cost you any more money. Like, it costs me the same to transport a 210 that it does for me to transport a 250 or a D6 dozer. Mm-hmm. So what's interesting, it's good that you're thinking that way, because there was a time that I bought a brand new John Deere 210 every single year from the John Deere dealership. The reason I did that, I could pull it behind my dump truck. Dumbest. The thought process that my transport and my dump truck being able to transport it was the reason that I bought the 210 was wrong. I should have been thinking, how much more work can I get done this week with a 250, a 330, 300 size machine compared to a 210, and not got hung up on the transport. But everybody gets hung up on the transport fee. And I don't know, we pay probably 10, 20 grand a month in transports. I don't know how much. I know it's a lot. But 10 years ago, that I would have been like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm going to buy a 210 because I don't want to have to pay $20,000 or $10,000 a month transport. That's a dumb mindset. You need to think about, how much dirt can I get moved? How much more can I get done? The other thing too, on a 250, we still have 210 John Deere track hoes that we just leave around and park on jobs to pretend we're working on them. But anytime I get in it, I'll get in a 210 and I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, I need to get a 330 over here. It makes your brain hurt. So have you ran 330s or that size?
A little bit. I've spent a lot of time in like a 220.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, and the 330 is like the best balanced, most awesome kick trash machine there is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what John Deere has that's like it. They probably have a 300 size something, but the Cat 330, and we put a 66-inch bucket on it, and the amount of dirt that we move, and the reach that we have, and the holes that we can dig, we just knock the living crap out of it.
Because right now I'm not I've only ever dug one basement. It's a lot of pipe work. Like we've gotten into hires. Jolly, the guy I talked about, he designs septic systems,
Yeah.
so then oversees me installing. And then like ag irrigation, stuff like that is like what we're working on this week.
So the truth is, a 300, unless you're digging deep, might be a little bit more big of a machine for you.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing septic and stuff like that, a 315 might be perfect for you.
Yeah.
But that being said, you could get a 315 cat or a 200, 320 cat that has the built-in 2D, and it would be awesome. It would be game changing. One of the problems is you've got that guy on the ground shooting grade, and anytime I see somebody standing on the ground shooting grade, it just blows my mind because you could be putting that money into technology and equipment instead of that guy on the ground. And the reality is, half the time he's not even shooting grade. Half the time you're just paying him to stand there and look at you.
Yeah.
And so anytime I see a guy shooting grade on the ground, and I was that guy, I got Tug's always sad. Tug's always sad that he's not a dirt digger. Do you have it?
I'm gonna look it up.
Tug shot grade for me. I didn't always have grade control. So all the stuff you're talking about, I've already done that. All of my kids have had me in the track go honking the horn at them, screaming at them. Tug, you're so slow.
I know, I'm trying to.
I'll bet I can find it faster than Tug. Let's see here. This is going to be, let's see here. Oh, now that I said that, it's going to cause me some grief. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I got it. That's Tug shooting grade control right there. Tug, tell me if you can see this here. Tell me when you see it.
Come up. Hold your phone up, but you're too close. Go back. Yeah, right there. Tap your screen. There you go. Yeah, they can see it.
That's Tug shooting grade control. That's what child abuse looks like.
I think that's the perfect way to raise a child.
Yeah, so
I'll have to tell my wife I don't need grade. My wife will. I'll tell my wife I don't need grade control. I just need to have a few more kids, right?
well, bless my kids' hearts, because in 2008, when things were really bad and I had to get rid of all my equipment, my wife was the one that shot grade for me, and she would shoot grade in the snow while it was snowing, and she'd be out there shivering, and I was sitting in the track with the heater turned on. But again, how crappy is it in the wintertime to be shooting grade as the guy shooting grade and it's snowing? Why not just have it on the machine? But it all boils down to you got to have enough money and enough work to do it. You don't want to just go buy a machine and not know how you're going to pay for it, not have any work.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, and yeah, I guess I go back and forth in my head of all of, I guess I run 100 different scenarios in my head all the time.
Well, the worst scenario that I ever run is when I run all the numbers and I'm like, oh, this isn't a good idea. And then I got that voice in the back of my head that tells me I'm being a sissy. And then I'm like, oh, are you just scared? And I'm like, yeah. And then I play this game called Don't Be a Sissy. And then I'm in a lot of trouble because I'm fighting with myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess another question is how do you balance, like this winter's been different, obviously, but like I can keep, we're really busy now through November, but what do you do with your guys December and January. You know what I mean? How do you, or do you just make enough that you can, because they've got families they need to eat. Like, do you just make enough that you can save and pay them to do whatever through the winter, or do you not really slow down in the winter right now?
We actually don't slow down. The winter, that's a lie. We always slow down in the winter. We always slow down in the winter, and we usually have commercial work too. The winter time, I don't know that it's different or if it's the same. So we always slow down in the winter, but we never slow down in the winter. Like typically our guys still are getting 40 plus hours in the winter time. This winter's been weird because where the economy's been a little different, our workload's been a lot different. Because at one point in time, we were probably digging like 3 to 4 big homes a month that were probably like 5,000 square foot basements. Mm-hmm. And last year, it feels like last year we dug 6 houses. So typically we're busy. So we typically always keep our guys busy in the winter. But in the winter, if you're slowing down enough, the worst thing you can do is think you're going to save up money and then pay your guys through the winter. I've done that where I tried to take care of guys through the winter, and then I drained any money I had in my account to pay guys to do nothing. And then like in the spring, they went and found another job. That's happened. That not what the guys have right now, but that's happened to me in the past. So my thing is, so right now it's March. I'm already thinking about I need to have work lined up October, November, December, January. So all year long, I'm stressed about making sure I have winter work lined up. A lot of times we'll take on some wintertime work that's not as profitable, and it's just break-even type work. So it's kind of no different than any other time of the year. We're always trying to make sure that the months are filled. I don't know how your job market is, like maybe the type of work you're doing. Do you just not do the installs in the winter?
No, well, a lot of the aggregation winter, it kind of is like fall, winter, like that November is really busy, it seems like, if we can get in, like weather depending, obviously.
So is there a way that you make enough money to carry everybody through? Or because I always think it's weird, these companies that don't work in the winter and you still got to pay your bills 12 months out of the year. And it's not like you're making a whole bunch of money in the summertime. Like the guys in Montana, I always wonder how in the world do they make it through the winter?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this past winter hasn't been nearly as bad as others just because the weather was good and it felt like things kept going.
Yeah.
There were slow times. I mean, I guess where it's the two of us, it seemed like I could always come up with, oh, we're going to do this or that, or so-and-so needs this, or a family member needs something, and they've been waiting for me to give them a deal, and now I can. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing, too, is a lot of times you'll have work that's building up during the year, and if it's winter, I know a contractor that they do all of their rock work in the wintertime. So they'll have all these projects that they're supposed to do rock work on, but they'll just keep doing the excavating. See, I like this outdoor studio stuff because it's got the sounds of nature in the back. It's good, huh? It's got the construction, hammering, the saw, everything. I love it. It's the best. But they hold all that work till wintertime. Mm-hmm. So at some point, you'll probably get busy enough that you'll have kind of work like that. It's a little bit annoying because when wintertime gets here, you still need money coming in, and then you're doing these dumb projects that they're not profitable. So the other thing that I do is, again, I don't know what your cash situation is, but no matter how much money I have in the bank, I'm broke. Like if I have $100 in the bank, I have zero. If I have $1,000 in the bank, I'm at zero. If I have 100,000, 10,000, I'm at zero. So for me, I don't ever feel comfortable that I have any money. Another thing I do is when things are really, really good. I didn't used to do this because I didn't think I could afford to. But every time I get a check in off a job, let's say I get a check for $10,000, I always take 10%. I take $1,000 and I put it into a separate bank account that doesn't exist. And I've gotten the habit that I force myself to do that no matter what. So no matter what the check is that comes in, I pull 10% out, I put it in this bank account that doesn't exist. And then I always think, oh, I got some money, but I don't have any money, because as soon as wintertime starts sneaking up on me and that stuff's going on, my business account drains to where there's nothing left. And then I start pulling that money back out into my bank account and taking care of my guys. So I don't know if you do that too, but I always pull money off of those jobs and tuck it away.
That makes sense. At what point did, like, obviously you're not in the Traco making every job happen. How did you get from, you know, yourself or you and your wife shooting grade for you to having crews just autonomously running jobs? Obviously you're still involved, but
So what happens is it's all a transition, and the place where I've failed right now that we're trying to do better is on leadership and training. And I'll talk about that. But the one thing you need to start thinking right now is that what I'm learning, I've been doing this forever. What I'm learning is me going out and buying a Traco is real easy. Me going out and finding contractors and contacts to work for is real easy. And me making money is pretty easy. The hardest part of our job, the hardest part of what you'll do, is actually training other people to do your job. And the hard part about that is you have to become somebody completely different than who you are, and you have to transform into a leader, and you have to transform into somebody who can guide and inspire people. So the guy that you've got working for you right now, every opportunity you have for him to do your job, he needs to do it. So if right now he can't run a Traco, you need to give him opportunity all the time to run the Traco. And what's tough is you need to be getting the job done. And so the worst thing you can do is put him in the Traco and slow yourself down and not be getting work done, but you need to give him opportunity to do that. I've got my son H that works with me, and he's been home off his mission for probably about 2 years, I think. And what I've done with him to help train him is a lot of the phone calls and stuff that I typically make, or the people that I deal with, I've been pushing those phone calls and stuff to him. So contractors that typically call me, I have them call H. Or if they call me, I'll have H call them back so that he gets in the routine of talking to them. Then I talk to him, oh, what was your conversation? Oh, I just talked to so-and-so, and he said you told him this. Okay, we don't ever tell the client that we can't do that, or we don't tell them that we can do this or whatever. And then I train him on the back end. The other thing I do is I have him and other people that work with me, I put them in charge of other people, and then I keep training. And the thing that's tough, to train anybody, I think, to do anything really takes about 2 years. So if I want somebody to learn how to run a Traco, I think it's about a 2-year process. Tug, grab me some Kleenex. If I want to train somebody to manage other people and take care of things, it's like a 2-year process. So you have to realize that everything that we do, it absolutely takes forever and ever and ever. But while you're preparing yourself and getting ready to do that, the most important thing you can do is start trying to improve yourself and leadership. And see, I don't know what your skills on that are, but you need to learn how to, like, take accountability for yourself. You need to learn how to, when guys are screwing something up, that you need to learn how to say hard things, so that when your guys screw something up, that you can say the hard thing and not hurt their feeling. One of the places where I screw up and I go wrong a lot is I tend to be too soft and too nice and not call things out when it needs to happen. So it takes a long time. I've been doing this forever and ever, and I'm still not there. I've been doing this 30 plus years, and I'm still not there. In fact, when I look at where I'm at and where I should be, I get really frustrated with myself, because the hard stuff is me being a good leader. The hard stuff is me teaching others to lead. The dirt work is all easy. Like that stuff is cake, but the leadership is the difficult part.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I guess one more question I had is, would you talk a little bit about balancing like work versus family life? Like obviously why we go to work is for our families, but
This is one of my favorite subjects. It's all a bunch of BS, and there is no such thing as work balance. Anybody who tells you that there's any work balance, in my opinion, is somebody that you need to stay away from. It does not exist. If you want to know what, and this will go into another interesting topic. If you want to know what it's like to be the wife of a business owner, then you're going to learn to be a wife that spends a lot of time alone, and you're going to learn to be a wife who spends a lot of time picking up after your husband as he drops the pieces, and you're the one that's got to clean them up. I have a friend who has his own business, and his wife's biggest complaint is that he wasn't home at 4:30 at night, and they would fight and argue about it. And he'd feel bad because, like, I got to be home. Well, that's not the life you chose. If this is the life you chose, when somebody calls me on a Saturday and they have a problem, I got to go take care of it. When I'm sitting in church on a Sunday and I get a text on my phone that somebody's sewer backed up or their basement is flooding, and I'm the guy that put the utilities in, I'm getting up in the middle of church and I'm going and dealing with it, and my wife's going to have to wait. If my wife has a school program or something that's very important to her, and I'm in a situation where I'm doing a water tie-in in a road and we're doing patchwork or whatever, she knows that I'm not going to be home. And if when I get home she's grumpy and treats me poorly, then that's not the wife for me to be married to, being a contractor and owning my own business. My wife, I don't know where I was talking about this the other day, but my wife has worked by my side 24/7. My wife, when I'm at work, doesn't call me and kick my trash for not being home. My wife knows, I don't know if this is good or bad, but my wife knows that she's pretty much a single mother raising 7 kids on her own, and the 8th kid is always at work somewhere working. So the whole BS about balance, it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Anybody who is successful in business, anybody who is successful in anything, Michael Jordan in basketball, Tiger Woods in golf, people that I don't know that their character is that great, but anybody who is the best at whatever they're doing, there is no life balance. Their balance is they are hyper-focused on whatever that is, and for them to win means that there's a lot of really good people behind them picking up the pieces. Now, there can be life balance. If I need to leave after we're done here and go take care of one of my kids, or I've had a little grandson who's been in the hospital for the last 6 months dealing with stuff, and I've worked every day till about 4:00, and then I go spend time at the hospital. That I can do with my business, but I can do that because I have amazing help supporting me. If my kids had a program at school that's really important to them, if it's on the right day, I can be there. My wife has spent a lot of time going to family functions at her family without me because I'm working. And the truth is I probably haven't done a very good job at balancing it. But if somebody expects you to have balance, then you're in trouble. I saw a thing the other day on TikTok where this guy was a contractor and his wife had 4 young kids at home, and she wouldn't let him leave the house till 10:00 because she wanted him to help get the kids to school. Yeah. That guy's not going to be successful in his marriage. That guy's not going to be successful in his business. He doesn't have a chance.
Yeah. Well, it's my wife's great. I mean, very rarely grumbles about whatever it is as far as being gone, Saturdays, late nights, stuff like that. I guess it's me that gets scared because I guess I've seen people who've went out, they've made a lot of money. They have, get divorced. Their family, they don't really have much to do with them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that scares me. Like, obviously, you're still married. Your kids have stuff to do with you. And maybe that's more on the fact that your wife's awesome.
Well, so I've been married 35 years, I think, and me and my wife are madly, madly in love with each other. And me and my wife have got the most polar personalities ever. I don't know. Have you ever done the color code stuff where they got red,
yeah.
blue, yellow? Do you know anything about the colors?
I couldn't tell you what color I am, but maybe.
Red's all power, right?
Okay.
And the blue is perfectionism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yellow is you like to have a good time, and white is you have empathy. Now, the way that works is a red should get married to a yellow white. Two reds should never be together because they're going to get divorced. and the worst color combination is a red blue. So my wife has no white in her. She's got no empathy for anybody. If you let's say you're outside with your brother and you had like BB guns or bows and arrows and you're shooting bows and arrows at each other, and say your brother shot you with an arrow and the arrow was sticking out of your leg, my wife would have no empathy for you and she would be spanking your butt. Is that true? I don't know. She would be beating your butt all the way to the hospital, and you would get no sympathy. That's how my wife is. So you've got to realize my wife is like bad to the bone. She is awesome, but she kicks my trash all day. Like, my wife is not a little soft sissy pushed over. Most people are intimidated by my wife because she is so intense. My personality is a red too. I don't like to be told what to do. If you tell me what to do, I'm going to do it just to make you mad so that you know not to. So I think your comment was about people making a lot of money and being divorced, and that was concern. I don't know the situation, but I think that's more of a personal defect because I am like 100% committed to my wife, and everything I'm doing, I think it's probably selfish, especially a business owner. Oh, I'm doing it for my family. I don't have an ego. I'm not buying equipment for myself. I'm doing it to feed you. I think that's probably a lie too. There's got to be a lot of ego, probably somehow, that you're dumb enough to go do a business. But I think that if you and your wife really love each other and are committed to each other, I think you're pretty wimpy, the both of you, if you go through some poop and can't make it out the other side. I hope I'm not divorced next year. But seriously, I don't know. I actually think the strongest couples that I know are couples that have been through business together. Like, nobody goes through what a business owner goes through. I saw a thing the other day with Kevin Costner that he was talking about how a lot of people think they're entrepreneurs. And he talked about if you've never laid in bed at night and worried that you couldn't make payroll the next day, you're not an entrepreneur. The good thing about me is when I'm laying in bed at night, me and my wife are together going through that pain. And I actually think all the poop that we've been through is actually like the bond and the strength that we've gone through being in a business like we have has actually made us stronger. And so for me, knock on wood, I think it's made us stronger. And there's nothing stronger than a husband and a wife that have gone through business together. So I don't know that that's a concern. Let me tell you where I think that's a concern. If you start making a crap load of money and then you think you're all this and then you spend that money and let's say you go buy a boat, but you don't buy a boat that has 12 seats for your whole family. You buy a boat that has like 2 or 3 seats, and the boat costs you $800,000 or $1 million, and it just goes super, super fast on the water. Or you go buy a real fancy car that only holds you and not your family, then you might be concerned. Or if you're making a lot of money and you start spending a lot of time with guys and being away from your family, I think that's where the problem comes from. I think when you start thinking that you're more than your family and you think that success is about you, I think that's where you get in trouble. But what do I know? I've not ever made a lot of money, and I don't have a real fast boat. If I did, I would like wear a gold chain with the big dollar sign down here.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's not like a big concern, but I just like to ask, I don't know, ask lots of questions. Some people who at least it looks like you have it together.
So as far
I'm sure you do, but
I'll tell you what, being married is the hardest thing you'll do. It's easy when you have difficulty with other people that aren't your wife and just walk away from it, or where you have conflict with other people and you're like, screw this, I'm done with it. But there's something unique and difficult and hard about when you love somebody and you want their life to be better, and you have this conflict and you have to keep making it work over and over. And I don't know, I think a lot of people think that being married isn't so cool anymore, that it's more about me. But you kind of look like it's about you and your family, especially if you've been friends since you were 12.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you do when things get hard?
I guess I talk to my wife. Like, that's really where I'm at. Like, I guess she's like my rock and I guess she's very consistent, if you will. But yeah, I've definitely had some bad days,
So bad days at work or bad days with relationship and marriage, or bad days, what do you mean?
Oh, no, bad days at work. Yeah.
So here's what's interesting. I have a lot of life experience right now. And what I've learned is going through probably the last 30 years, I had people that I thought, oh, these people are my best friends. We're tight. What I've learned is there's one person in this world that cares about me, and that's my wife. And what I've learned is there's one person that has my back 100%, and that's my wife. And you need to realize that I've been a cruddy enough husband learning to be a husband that there's plenty of times that my wife would have been better off to not have to deal with me. But even last week, I came home feeling frustrated about something. Let me tell you how awesome my wife is. I came home and I completely unloaded on her, like you shouldn't. Not unloaded on her that I was angry. I was carrying a whole bunch of stuff from work. And I came home and I just threw it all up on top of her. She sat there. She just listened. She just listened. She just listened. The next morning, usually I get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I come in the living room and I sit in front of the fireplace. And that's my alone time. I'm starting to think about the day. My wife comes in there and she sits down with me. She's been thinking all night about me. And she says, look. And then she pulls out some Old Testament stuff that we're studying. And she reads me the Abrahamic covenant. And she says, look, this. And this is why you're going to be okay. And this is what matters. And that's who my wife is. She didn't ignore me. She laid in bed all night long. And the next morning she came out, and the stuff that she told me was stuff that I needed to hear. She wasn't putting me down, but she said, look, this is the reasons that you're going to be okay. And she talked about priesthood stuff. She talked about posterity, and she talked about prospering. And she says, you know what? All the stuff you talked about last night, it's all going to be okay because here's where we're at. That's my wife. And she is my very, very best friend. And she has kicked the living crap out of me every day, all day long. And she's not afraid to tell me what I need to improve on. Let me tell you the other thing that's awesome about her. My wife will kick my butt and know that I'm going to kick her butt back and get angry. And then she'll give me a break and be patient with me and know that tomorrow she's going to try again to make me a better person. And my wife rocks. Like, my wife is just bad to the bone. And she's awesome. So hopefully that's the kind of wife you've got.
Oh, for sure.
And if you do, you'll win.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's awesome. I definitely couldn't, I definitely would live life a lot different without my wife and baby. So. Yeah.
My only desire in life is to be okay for my wife. And my wife, I mean, I'm telling you, we don't back down from each other. But I want to be good at life for my wife. I want to have success in my life for my wife. I want to be able to have money in the bank for my wife so that she can buy my grandkids and stuff. Everything that I do is, honestly, I don't care what you think. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Nobody do I care what they think about me. I don't care. But I do care what my wife thinks about me, and I want to be okay with her. So I would protect that relationship above anything else that you do. And again, I love the construction background. It's so good. Like, in the day, you'd have to pay some good money to have that kind of stuff. But yeah, be good to your wife. I see a lot of guys that don't, and they don't think that's priority. That's one of the things that's interesting is people always say, oh, go to ConExpo. And one of the reasons I don't go to ConExpo is I want to be with my wife. And when I go to ConExpo, I always feel like I see a lot of people down there that are trying to be away from their wife. And I'm the opposite. I like my wife.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great advice. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's all the questions you have to get you through life right now in the excavating business.
Well, I don't know. At least get me through the next week.
Yeah. You have work right now, though?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thought that I have while we're thinking is I know you're hooked up with this one guy, but I would try to find like 3 or 4 or 5 other good people to work for so you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's worked great, but also I have, the ability to go where I want to and do what I want. And so it works good.
Yeah, and you want to grow so that you can take better care of your guy, and you want to grow so that you can take better care of yourself and your family.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's it, huh?
Well, I guess another question. So are you bidding a lot of like municipality, city type work or mostly private civil stuff?
I bid private civil stuff, and I don't bid stuff for people I don't know. You're in a really hard spot when you're starting out because you're trying to get work and you're trying to get a foothold. City work and municipality is a really dangerous place to be if you don't know what you're doing. And if you do know what you're doing, it's a dangerous place. I looked at a job that was bidding in Pleasant Grove the other day. There's 25 bidders on that. So if you're bidding against 25 other people, and let's say the break-even point's right here, and everybody needs work, how far down here out of 25 people do you need to be to get that job? Mm-hmm. And then when you get that job, are you really happy that you got that job, or did you just create a whole lot of stress that now you're doing a job that you shouldn't have taken? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know that market very well. I have opinions of it, but I think it's a scary market.
That makes sense. Okay.
I used to have an asphalt company where we did slurry seal and seal coat on state parks, airports, all sorts of stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was a good learning experience, because when I had my asphalt company before I started bidding on that stuff, I always made really good money. And then I bought a whole bunch of equipment, and then I hired a whole bunch of guys, and then I had to have a whole bunch of work to keep all that equipment and all those guys busy. And then I had to bid at the bottom of the barrel to get work. And the big jobs and the jobs that could provide for us were the ones where you had to be the low bid. And so what's dumb is you're going to spend 20, 30 years of your life being the low bid and doing work for not enough money. I would recommend that you find people who understand that you're going to give them a correct price, not the low price. Me and Tug are learning about value engineering right now. And I used to think that value engineering was a bad word. But what I'm starting to learn is sometimes the price needs to be higher than what you think it should be, so that you can make sure that you have the value in the job that you need to make sure the job's done right and correctly, and to eliminate liability. A lot of people think value engineering means let's find out how to do it cheaper. My attitude is value engineering is learning how to have the correct amount of money in there to protect yourself and to protect the client, and to protect the project from defaults or faults, or having to rework projects or to redo things. So I think in your starting out, you need to figure out how to make sure that you're keeping your price where it needs to be, so that you're protecting yourself and your client. And that's a hard place to be, especially when you don't have any work and you're trying to get a foot in the door. Because a lot of times, the other thing that happens too with people in your situation is, I think there's like a lot of predatory type builders and predatory type contractors, and I've dealt with them my whole life. And when you're the young guy and you're real excited to get work, and that guy's giving you work, and you're like, oh man, I got this work, and you have no idea that you're walking into the trap you are. But you got to eat, right? What's interesting, I did talk to a guy down at ConExpo, and he told me that he got into a contractor last year for $1.6 million and didn't get paid. And then he told me who it was, and I'm like, I know exactly who that is. And we did a lot of work for them, and that's kind of what happens. So the guy that didn't get paid, was so excited because this was a really big contractor and a really big opportunity for them to do a lot of work. So he went and did work, then they didn't get paid. What's scary for me all the time with people your age, like in your 20s to 30, is you haven't had enough bad experiences yet, maybe, to know how to protect yourself. And that same guy right now, the contractor that owes people money, could see you, and you could see that that's a big opportunity, and then you would go do a whole bunch of work and not get paid, and then it would cause you a lot of grief and sadness. So it's kind of like the turtle. Isn't there, when turtles hatch, like only so many turtles make it to the beach or something without getting eaten? I think the new contractors, the new excavators your age, are
baby
like
turtle.
Yeah, you guys are like the little baby turtles that are making your way down to the beach. And if you can make it through all the predatory contractors who are looking to take advantage of you, you can get in the ocean and then go swim and grow big and whatever. But there's a lot of sharks in between you and the open water and place where you can grow. So I would encourage you too, that with the guy that you have a relationship with, that you make sure that if you ever have an opportunity where somebody has a big job or a lot of work, that you don't get overly excited about that and just go all in, but you're smart enough, be wise enough to ask yourself, why does this guy who's been in business for 20 years want me, a guy that's been in business for 4 years and has this limited amount of experience and equipment, why does he want me to do this work for him? because there's usually a reason why. If it's a family friend and the guy's trying to help you grow your business, that's different. But if it's some contractor who's like, oh man, I've got all this work for you, blah, 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 be wise enough to call somebody else and say, hey, what do you think about this opportunity?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I had a similar situation. Well, I guess I haven't done the work, but a person contacted me. And then I talked to the guy that I do a lot of work with, and he said, well, you're welcome to do that on your own without me. I won't work for said person. And I guess I know them well enough that I wanted to like give them the courtesy to not say no. So I met with them, and this is maybe bad. I gave him a price. I doubled it and said I want half down before I do anything.
And when do you start?
I'm not doing it. Well, I haven't heard that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of like, that was my nice no, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe that's wrong, but.
I don't think that's wrong because I think that's a weird situation. I think as a contractor, we have to learn how to say no without telling people no. And the ways that we tell people no is, yeah, we can do it, but I'm out for 8 months. So you're trying to save face, but you also want to have integrity, right? So you can tell them that. The scary thing is you double your price and they have you do the work and then you don't get paid. Like there's a lot of people do that. They raise their price to try not to do the work, but that can get you into trouble too. But you have to find ways to say no and to be wise. The other thing too, this was one of those contractors that I didn't get paid on all the time. And I finally started, it's interesting that you brought up, I want to get paid half down. I always try to get paid half down because when things go south, I'm working with your money, not mine. And when you file bankruptcy, at least I have money that I could pay all my suppliers. Again, that doesn't work if you're the kind of guy that when somebody gives you a deposit, you go buy that big boat so that you can have somewhere that people can see your chains hanging off your neck with your shirt off.
Yeah.
But if you're a guy that has integrity and you're running a good business, then you put that money in the bank or pay your suppliers. That's wise. And I would still do that. I was talking to a person the other day, and they had a guy do a whole bunch of work on a canal project for him, and found out that the guy did all this work and still was trying to figure out how to get paid by the people involved. And so the other thing that happens when you're young, like you are, and I used to be, I always thought nobody would have me do work if they weren't going to pay me. Like I was always shocked to go do a job for someone and they're like, oh, well, our loan hasn't closed. Oh, well, we were hoping to sell this project to have this to fund it. And I'm like, wait a minute, you just had me do all that work, but there's no money? So one of my questions now, and I would tell you as a younger contractor, I jump around all the time, but this is how my brain works. So somebody told me the other day, somebody told me yesterday, they read one of the reviews on my podcast, and I have a 1-star review. I have a lot of 5 stars, 1-star review. It says, all this guy does is complain about not getting paid. Everything we do is about getting paid. So when you're doing a job for somebody new, don't just jump in the job and then go order $100,000 worth of pipe from your supplier and get it put on the job site. Talk to that guy, say, okay, how are you funding this project? Oh, we're waiting for a grant. We're waiting for a loan. Okay, when you have that grant and you have that money funded in your account and you get me a check, then we'll get you scheduled. Don't get super excited and go buy a bunch of product and get it on their job. Find out where the money's coming from. Find out when they're going to pay. Tell them that you would like to be paid 50% up front, 25% up front, then 25% through the project, then another percentage. But do not do all this work ever and wait to get paid on the back end. That will cause you a lot of stress, and that will cause you and your wife to not have a good relationship when she has no money to buy food or to pay the bills.
Yeah, because if you're not going to make money or get paid, why not just sit home instead of going to work?
Yeah, but I was dumb. I was just so excited that somebody's going to have me do some work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you.
All righty. That's all we got. How long was that one, Tug?
Hour 15, hour 20.
Okay, that was good then. That was good that we went an hour and 15 minutes. That showed you had some substance. It wasn't the 4-hour podcast we did the one time. Okay, I'm going to play some awesome music with Jared. Let me see if I remember what button it is.
What you say and what you mean, it can be two different things. And I